guys, welcome back to my YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing a sensitivity video. I keep getting questions and like comments on my YouTube to redo it because recently Apex did change ALC where they have numbers next to them and people want to get the accurate sensitivity down. So before I do this though, I do want to show you guys my settings because I do get a lot of questions on like what my other settings are. Well, you know, if I play button puncher, if I play claw or whatever. So first off, I do not play claw. I play regularly. I don't do anything different. I literally just play with two hands. Like I play normally. I don't do anything different. Yeah. Going into my settings, I have my damage numbers on both. I turned off my crosshair damage feedback because I feel like with the crosshair damage feedback, when you're shooting somebody, it kind of gets in the way of what you're aiming at sometimes. So it's just better to turn it off. But obviously it's all preference, whatever. Okay, so moving on to my other settings, I do have my crouch on toggle. I just find it easier rather than holding. When I go into my advanced look controls, this is like, you know, what everybody asks for. But one thing I will say is that if you play on a very low sensitivity, I wouldn't recommend going on ALC. It's mostly for higher sense players because it's very difficult to find like kind of like a sweet spot when you play on a low sensitivity when you get to ALC. I play on a very high sensitivity, so if you are a high sense player, you can use mine. I mean, you can do whatever you want. If you're a low sensitivity player looking to move to ALC, you can always just take my settings and, you know, mold them to what you are comfortable with and, you know, play around with it. But getting into it, my dead zone is at 10%. My outer threshold is at 1%. My response curve is at 6%. My per optic settings are literally just set to 1. I haven't messed around with them at all. They're all just regular. My yaw speed is 500. My pitch speed is 290. My turning extra yaw is 250. I have all of these three turned off. I really do not like the extra pitch, which is why a big part why I moved to ALC is because I really don't like pitch speed. So my pitch speed is a lot lower than my yaw speed. And if you don't know what yaw and pitch speed is, yaw speed is basically how quick you move left and right, or look left and right, sorry, versus pitch speed, which is how fast you look up and down. And it makes it a lot easier to control recoil. And I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff saying that ALC gives you higher aim assist. That is not true at all. It doesn't give you anything like better. It just makes it easier to control recoil because you can mold the recoil to like what you want. So what I mean by that is a lot of recoil is like holding down your stick. So when you lower your pitch speed, it makes it easier to control recoil just by holding your stick down, like as like you just literally hold it down. So the higher your pitch speed, it's going to be harder to control. So see how it's moving up like that? So when you adjust your pitch speed, you can do it to where you literally have no recoil. That's why a lot of people believe that aim assist on ALC is stronger because it makes it easier to control your stick. Because you're molding it compared to regular sensitivity, it's not a preset sense. This is what you want and what you're comfortable with and, you know, what you've gotten used to. So moving on, my ADS yaw speed is 200. My ADS pitch speed is 160. Again, it's lower because I do not like pitch speed very much. And then my turning extra yaw is 170. And then everything else is set to 0. So I wouldn't really worry about ramp up time. It literally just means like when your stick is all the way to the side, it just gets faster basically. Moving on to my controller settings, my button layout is button puncher and I have this for a reason. So I say this a lot. If you don't have paddles, I highly recommend setting your crouch to your right thumbstick. And the reason I say that is because you want to keep your thumbs on your thumbstick as long as possible. I do play with paddles, but I personally do not have my paddles set up to crouch. Like I don't have crouch set to any of my paddles. I only use two paddles. One of them is for heals and then the other one is for jump. So if you do crouch spam a lot, you're probably going to crouch more than you melee. So I think it'd be better to just have it on your stick. That made it easier. It also makes it easier to crouch strafe. And what crouch strafing is when you go like this, you're fighting someone and you're going like that. It makes it a lot easier than having your crouch on your paddle because then you have to do like two things at once. I find it way easier to just have it on your stick. Another tip I want to leave is if you do have paddles, again, I probably would recommend you not having crouch on your paddle, but again, it's all preference. I personally just don't like having my crouch on paddles because again, you basically have to do two things at once. So what I mean by that is when you're strafing and looking, sorry, and you have to crouch as well, you basically have to do two inputs at the same time. Versus if you have it on your stick like I have it, you can just do this and it makes it a lot easier to crouch strafe. This is a very big advantage that you can have against your opponent because it makes it very hard to hit you. But I mean, again, it's all preference. It just basically just lowers the amount of things you have to do at once. So it just makes it a lot easier for you. And again, if you're curious what my paddle is set to, I only use two. Mine are just set to A and heels. I really hope this video helped you guys out, give you a feel for what my settings are. I know a lot of you ask me all the time. There's a lot of comments on my other videos, you know, asking what my sensitivity is. Again, I personally like ALC better because compared to preset sense, it basically just lets you mold it to what you want. I appreciate you guys for watching the video. By the way, if you'd like to follow my socials, you can follow my TikTok, you can follow my Twitter, you can follow my Twitch and my Instagram. They should either be Janey or It's Janey. Janey on my Twitch, and then It's Janey on all other platforms. So I hope this really helped you guys out, and feel free to leave me a DM or come into my stream if you ever want to ask any more questions. I'm always answering people, always replying, so feel free to stop by my channel anytime you'd like.